Hello and welcome back to Murders on the Yangtze River. We are now going to be exploring and investigating once again, now that we know, or at least heavily suspect, that the death of Formenting was not a suicide, but actually a murder. And under those new circumstances, we will once again try to look or where the actual crime scene took place, because we also believe that by the time he fell into the, what is it called? I wanted to say cauldron, but it's not quite. The thing, he was already dead.
Shen, this door leads to the backyard. Let's head over there and take a look.
We will in a bit. There were a couple things we could investigate over here though still. Now we can talk to Lee the First. The map looks quite new. It was probably put up not long ago. A working drawing of the open hearth furnace is pasted right above it. Your Honor, there are a few questions about the shrine that I would like to ask you. There's no harm in asking.
I heard that Mr. Deputy Administrator was the one who arranged the statue.
Formenting repeatedly asked me to invite the gods in, and I couldn't argue with him. He was quite concerned about this, and even built the shrine by himself. Who would know that after the gods were invited in, all these terrible things would happen? So, Formenting built the shrine and the altar by himself.
Shen, we didn't check the altar beneath the shrine earlier.
No matter, feel free to investigate it. As long as you can solve the case as soon as possible. Alright.
A wooden altar, so simple and structured that it doesn't even have a drawer. A statue of Ganjiang and Moye. It's just a normal statue with no mechanisms or secret compartments.
Are you sure?
There are 3 sticks of incense placed vertically on the incense burner. There is half a stick of red candle on the candlestick that has already been put out.
Okay, gonna say the same thing there. A shrine made of rosewood.
The carvings aren't that meticulous. You could even say it's ugly.
So Formenting built this with his own hands. Did you just call the craftsmanship of a dead man ugly? Oh, okay, this is a bit janky. I can do it like this. I think we've looked at everything. Is there anything on the side here? No. Oops. I didn't mean to. Do we have anything in the back? Ooh. There's the number 3.
Behind the altar is a secret compartment.
Okay. Yes. Right, return.
It's open.
Okay, that's a lot of stuff.
Look, Shen, there's a lot of containers and reagents in the secret compartment.
It appears this is the true secret of the shrine.
Ammonia, sodium hydroxide, there are all kinds of reagents placed on the shelf. There are 3 bottles placed on this shelf, one of which has been sealed at the mouth. There is a black mark on the partition board that feels hollow to the touch. It's the result of corrosion.
Okay, oops.
The 2 pieces of steel soaked in reagents seems to have been corroded. One of the labels says, sample made by pig iron burnt with coal from Westphalia. The other label says, Sample made by a mixture of Chinese coke, breeze, and anthracite. Do we have something that looking at these two? No, they're uninteresting. A crucible, an iron frame, a funnel, a beaker, a conical flask, a dropper. These are all common appliances used for chemical experiments that are placed on this shelf. Anything interesting? Clicking everywhere, it doesn't look like it. Oops. I had already clicked there. Is there nothing left? Oh, wait, I should probably look at this. I can't read the label on the bottle clearly, so I'll open it. There's a gunpowder smell. I got it, Shen. This bottle contains concentrated nitric acid. Completed. I didn't expect there was a whole set of chemical appliances hidden within the shrine. So he was actually secretly conducting experiments instead of worshipping gods. I never knew any of this. Mr. Deputy Administrator, would it be possible to ask you a few more questions? Go on, Mr. Shen. Has Mr. Deputy Administrator ever seen these chemical appliances in the shrine? I never knew that, but he was secretly conducting experiments. However, these appliances do look like the ones used in the laboratory in the backyard. Is it possible that Fomenting borrowed these from the laboratory? Borrowed. I can't be sure, but Fomenting used to be the assistant to Mr. Robinson, the chemist there. Later on, when we needed a foreman on the factory floor, Mr. Robinson recommended him. Is it not true that he's overqualified for the job as a foreman? It is indeed more laborious and dangerous to work on a factory floor than in a laboratory. However, he had great enthusiasm for steelmaking. I recall you once said that he had always been studying open-hearth steelmaking technology? Yes, he wanted to improve the formulation of steel to reduce cost and increase efficiency. The minerals obtained by our ironworks are mostly phosphate rocks left over by the Japanese. To produce good steel, we had to buy pricey phosphorus-free coke from the foreigners. Not only are production costs high, quality has always been unstable. After we used open hearth process, the product quality has improved, but costs are still high. Ting suggested replacing foreign coke with a mixture of Pingxiang coke breeze and anthracite. The steel would then be refined in the open hearth furnace as phosphorus is removed. The open hearth process uses the alkaline furnace, which is good at removing phosphorus. Nevertheless, this has nothing to do with the chemical appliances in the shrine. Okay. I heard from the workers that there was a problem with a batch of the products. Ting's method reduces the costs by a third. We also did some tests on its mechanical properties. The results are good. Therefore, we trial produced a batch of steel rails. Good quality and low price helped us get orders from many railways. But that's when things went wrong. Indeed. The test report from London came back saying that there were quality problems with our products. The report says that the carbon content of the steel was too low to be durable. The phosphorus content was too high and has prospects of fragmentation. As a result, the construction company for the railways refused to accept our steel rails. The public also accused us of cutting corners on such an important matter. I felt so ashamed. I'm sure Fomenting was also under a lot of stress too. After that incident, Fomenting's condition hadn't been so good. So he was actually secretly conducting experiments instead of worshipping gods. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Administrator. Afu and I shall continue investigating following this clue. Steel ingots cast from molten steel in ladle number 2 after the incident. Ladle, that was the word. According to Afu, the remains of the deceased will not be within them. This is a desk that Supervisor Ho moved here temporarily. There's a headcloth on the desk. Supervisor Ho was using it to bag the money. There's an account book next to it. Let me take a look. Old Lee's wages were deducted a lot. The reason is because he skipped work multiple times. Awu's wages were the second most deducted for being late. Old Chow's have also been deducted. These are circumstances worth keeping in mind. Who was that? I glanced over who was the most deducted. Wait. Old Lee. Okay. And then the two other guys. The two workers. Awu, what are you doing here? Did you just say that the foreman was murdered? At present, it is highly likely that he was murdered. Mr. Shen, you believe what I say, right? Yes. I remembered something strange. My master doesn't let me say much. Not sure if this is important or not. There's no one else here, Awu. Be at ease and tell us. This morning, I noticed that the crane hook was not stationed at its usual position. Where is the crane hook usually positioned? It's supposed to be between furnace number 1 and furnace number 2. But when I got here this morning, I saw the crane hook stationed in front of furnace number 2. Huh? Is it possible that someone used the crane hook during working hours? Not likely. No one would move the crane hook if we weren't casting ingots. So you suspect that someone used the crane hook last night? That's right. Thank you, Awu. This really helps with our investigation. Anyway, hurry up and find that murderer. Okay. Changed position when he started work in the morning and suspected it was used late last night. Or last night. Well, it could have been used to transport the body of Foreman Ting, right? It feels like it would be suitable for that. How far can we go this way? Can we just leave again? Okay. Yeah. Oh, you actually... okay. Alright, we're focusing on investigations then. Since there's no body to examine, Auntie Boo already left. This was the ladle that Foreman fell into. The crane hook was in front of furnace 2 this morning. Someone definitely used it last night. Okay, that's all. Is there anything we could do on the second floor platform? Does old Lee have anything to say about all of his can I speak? Deductions. Old Lee, the factory floor is already quite arid. Why is there a tarpaulin covering the iron? Ting instructed us to do so. He was afraid the bulk material and the iron would be mixed up. Old Lee, there are still a few questions I would like to ask about this morning's incident. If there's anything else you need to ask, then just ask. So you're saying Foreman Ting was murdered? It wasn't because he provoked that thing in the shrine? Of course. We went to the office and nothing happened. Old Lee, between last night and this morning, have you noticed anything unusual? Or perhaps have you heard any strange noises? Nothing unusual or any strange noises. Were you working at the second floor furnace area all night? Yes. Sometimes I take a break, but I never left, not even for a second. He spent the whole night on the second floor and found nothing unusual. That conflicts with... The movements of the crane hook are exceedingly noisy. If you really were here all night, how could you have not known that someone used the crane hook last night? Unless you were the person who moved the crane hook.
It wasn't me. Last night, I did in fact leave the second floor furnace area.
Where did you go?
I stayed up past midnight. I was very hungry and I went to the dock to have a midnight snack.
No way. If you left, who was looking after the furnace?
The furnace could be unattended for an hour after materials are shoveled in. Patrolman Cook can prove it. Whenever I'm on duty, we go to the dock together around that time. I swear, I'm not lying.
We'll trust your words for now. Is there anything else that you're hiding from us?
No.
Oddly, have you ever opened the conveyor door after the incident?
Well, but...
If you keep fumbling, it'll just increase our suspicions.
Well... Fine then. After the incident, I did open the conveyor door without permission. The fire was so intense, it's only natural that I fear death.
Oddly, it's only human nature to flee for your life, but why did you keep this a secret earlier?
There are rules of operation that require workers to put out the fire as priority. I didn't have the guts to stay, but I was also afraid they would cut my pay. I have a family to support, so many mouths to feed.
Be at ease, old Lee. We just want to uncover the truth. We do not intend to cause you any trouble.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Old Lee, did you lock the conveyor door at a later time?
Yes, it's embarrassing to admit.
Are you the only person who holds the key to the conveyor door?
I'm the only person on the factory floor that has the keys.
We would like to try and take the elevator. Please open the doors for us.
Will do.
How did you come out from there? Oh, that's Patrolman Koo. I was like, who's that? We're investigating every nook and cranny that seems suspicious. A file, a screwdriver, a saw, a wrench. There are a lot of tools placed on top of this chest. I'm sure it's pig iron underneath this tarpaulin. Huh? This isn't pig iron? Shen, there are rubber blocks piled underneath here. A large quantity of rubber. Is there a need for rubber in the process of steelmaking? Not at all. These rubber blocks belong to Mr. Lee. They're just temporarily stacked here. Afu, under our feet. Ah, these are scraps of rubber. That means someone processed rubber blocks here. There is a uniform over here. It looks really dirty and it's all covered in rust. Only a worker in the charging area could make their clothes this dirty. Sir, do you know whom this clothing belongs to?
You can ask around and see which worker came by the warehouse today.
Are you sure this uniform was discarded today?
I just cleaned this place up with old Chow and the others last night before he got off work.
This situation is worth recording.
If there's anything you want to know, you can try asking me.
Did Foreman Ting ever have a problem with anyone?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Let's count Awu in first.
Was it because Formanting was strict and paid Awu's wages late?
Not entirely. Ting was stricter with Awu more than he was with anyone else, so Awu hated him. Formanting came from the backwater countryside and was the youngest in his family. In the past 2 years, his family died of illness or old age. He was the last one left. He was also an old bachelor. There's no one to even handle his funeral affairs. Awu was also born to a poor family. He is clever. Everyone knows Ting treated him like his son. Alas, it's regrettable that Ting was obsessed with steelmaking. He was not considerate at all. Obviously, he meant well, but sometimes his words sound harsh and mean. That's why Awu kicked over his shrine a while ago.
So Formanting was really quite alone. It sounds so pitiful. Other than Awu, who else did Formanting have a dispute with?
Old Lee is also quite stubborn, so these two stubborn old men often fought. Also, a while back, Formanting even beat up that foreign boss from the laboratory. Thanks to his bad temper, he lost his job in the lab and became a labor foreman here.
So it was due to his bad temper, apparently, according to him. When the incident occurred, were you in this warehouse? Did you see anyone get off the elevator?
I don't know, I was in front of the office. I was in front of the office doors at the time.
Is this warehouse usually locked? Does anyone stand guard?
The warehouse usually isn't locked or guarded, since there's nothing important kept in there. If there's anything you want to know, alright.
Old Lee claims that whenever he is on duty, he goes to the dock with you to eat midnight snacks.
You know about that already.
Was that the case last night?
We were just taking a little break.
Right. These gunny sacks? What are gunny sacks? Are filled with lime. Ironworks interior, a monument. What is this? Art lab. This laboratory is huge. Well, speak of the devil. I was just telling Mr. Robinson about you two detectives. There are a few questions we would like to ask Mr. Robinson. Of course, allow me to introduce you. This is Mr. Robinson, a chemist from England. He's also the head of this laboratory. Mr. Robinson, this is Mr. Shen. Beside him is his assistant, Afu.
Mr. Shen, I did hear thy deductions are marvelous.
This case is still under investigation, so your cooperation would be greatly appreciated. If it be true that thither is aught I can hope, Jesus Christ, hope thee with privilegedly let me knoweth. Mr. Robinson, I'm also really interested in chemistry. But there are some experiments that come to mind. Can I borrow your laboratory table?
Aye.
Sure, just let the random dude who just came in borrow your chemistry laboratory. Why not? Ah, okay. That's the connection. I see. We came to there probably the opposite way that was intended. This monument was erected when Hanyang Ironworks was first put into operation. At the time, there were quite a few foreign engineers who came to work at the ironworks. A variety of reagents are displayed in this cabinet. Hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, sulfuric acid, ammonia, hydrogen peroxide. They really do have everything. Afu, what kind of experiments are these reagents used for? They're mainly used to test the composition of minerals and steel. I see. Shen, are you alright? I am fine. Just remembered a few
unpleasant memories.
As long as you're fine. Shen, I just found a bottle of reagent that's quite rare. Perhaps it can be of use.
Okay.
There are several test tubes in the scale on the laboratory table. Look, Shen, it's a portrait of Shang Shidong. Mr. Shang advocates education and industry. He is a person I admire greatly. A stack of documents, a bottle of ink, and a quill pen are placed on a desk. Huh? This is a chemical test report for steel. The steel in this report is made by using coal from Westphalia. All indexes are up to standard. Steel in this report was made by a mixture of Chinese coke breeze and anthracite. What a shame. Due to the high phosphorus content, fragmentation easily appears in the steel. It seems that the choice of fuel really affects the quality of the steel. A complete account of iron manufacture electricity. The bookshelf is full of technical books. The remaining documents are all in foreign languages. Natural Philosophy is the first book I read about the study of physics.
There's another brazier.
There are some paper ashes in the brazier that seem to have burned out not long ago. This brazier brings back some bad memories.
True.
Miss Wen, are you also here to investigate the laboratory? I'm here for the photos. The camera was destroyed, but fortunately the film inside was untouched. Mr. Robinson from the laboratory helped me develop them. What kind of photos did you take? Can we have a look? I only took a few, and most of them are scenery shots. You can see for yourself. Chen, let's take a look at Miss Wen's photos. One moment. There are still a few questions that I would like to ask Miss Wen. Ask away, great detective. As you are writing a report on the ironworks, you must know its recent developments. Well, of course. I'm a senior reporter. It's really difficult for national enterprises like the Hanyang Ironworks to develop and grow. They need to buy foreign equipment. Even mineral resources are controlled by foreigners. At the market, foreigners control the right to build most railways in China. They're the ones who decide whose steel rails to buy and what the standards for testing are. Take the Shanghai-Nanjing Railway with a British chief engineer, for example. The agreement specifies that the British in charge of purchasing take a commission of 5%. Naturally, the British will choose to buy Western products to gain more profit. When they purchase steel rails, they would nitpick at Hanyang Ironworks' products. Recently, the ironworks is more competitive due to a new method that greatly reduces costs. However, rumors about the bad quality of its steel rails have sent the ironworks to rock bottom. No wonder Deputy Administrator Lee seems so anxious. That's why he hopes that my news report can help them restore their reputation. No more questions. Let's take a look at the photographs. On the left is a photo of Hanyang Ironworks freight dock. In the middle is a photo of the molten steel basin. We've seen this before. This photo was taken in the office on the furnace factory floor. The office in the photo looks different to what it's like now. Does it? Miss Wen, was this photo taken yesterday evening as well? Yep, what about it? This detail in the photo differs from how the office is now. That seems quite peculiar.
What does the photo look like now? Oh, what does the office look like now?
Formenting isn't there anymore. It's very different. Is there something about the map? Because I think like this is the same, this is the same, this is the same. I don't know about that, but it's just kind of in the foreground and blurred out. Let me go like here. Shen, the blueprints on the wall changed. In a photo, a flowchart of the steelmaking process was placed above the map. But now it's a working drawing of the open hearth furnace. But furthermore, the map in the photo looks evidently more worn down. Who did it? Why would they suddenly make such a change? When the incident occurred, I was in the office, and the blueprints were switched out then. Shen, do you think this could be related to Formenting's death? It is hard to believe that there is no connection whatsoever between these two. Could it be that the suspect did it? We cannot rule out the possibility that Formenting did this. That actually, like, jump scared me so badly. Like, I didn't jump, but my heart just sank. Because I didn't, like, for some reason, the screen just turned completely black. And I thought, like, the electricity had gone out or something. And then just this, I mean, this is just a very scary looking image to begin with. So my heart rate just jumped. Was it necessary for Formenting to replace the flowchart with a working drawing? Could you not surprise me like that? Yes, please. Could you not avoid the subject? Answer me. Was it necessary for Formenting to replace the flowchart with a working drawing? Who knows? Maybe he just wanted to take a look at the structure of the open hearth furnace? Who knows? Can't he take a look on the table? Why would he hang it up on a wall? Both furnaces are in operation. It didn't make any sense to hang the working drawing up again. Formenting had no reason to change the blueprints, nor did other workers. Unless the suspect did it. Go on. Does the suspect have a valid reason to replace the blueprints? To cover up traces? Destroy information? Let's go with that. Was it to cover up traces on a... That's not what I meant. Okay. That's not right. The size and location of the blueprints have not changed. I thought, you know, cover up traces of maybe something changed with the furnace or whatever. Or something like that. Or with the process... I don't know. To destroy information. Clearly, there was some information on a paper that they did not want us to see. That is kind of what I meant with what I clicked earlier as well, but yeah. In order to destroy it, they switched out both of the blueprints. So, what kind of information was it? Nothing special about the two blueprints in the photo. No traces of handwriting on them either. Aside from its worn out state, the map is the exact same as the map on the wall now. Which means... What is this referring to? Perhaps the information exists in some kind of hidden way. For example, ink that can only be shown under certain circumstances. Or perhaps the paper has undergone special treatment. If there really was such hidden information, there would be no need to replace the blueprints. Which means... the information could have only been left alone. After the photo was taken, new information appeared on the blueprints that were torn off. So, what's the new information? There are too many possibilities. No, the suspect has only one reason to hide evidence. The hidden evidence will reveal their crime. Rumors say Ting was killed by ghosts, but he was most likely murdered before falling into the ladle. This means that the new information that appeared on the blueprints was bloodstains. Yeah, I thought of that after the last text box. It was most likely bloodstains. The suspect is trying to make people believe Ting was killed by ghosts. If a bloodstain is found on the factory floor, their schemes would be exposed. Evidence. Give me evidence that supports your deduction. Evidence? What other evidence have I yet to consider? Evidence that could indirectly prove that the deceased was injured and bleeding is... The headcloth. Maybe? That's right. Foreman Ting abnormally wore a headcloth this morning. The headcloth may have been used to cover the scars and bloodstains on his head. However, this is not enough to prove the hypothesis I just made. Unfortunately, the body has been destroyed, otherwise an autopsy would reveal everything. Even if it's just a hypothesis, at least it tells us that the primary crime scene is most likely the office. Exactly. Shen! Are you alright? Did your headache act up again? I just have to say it again. I love those scenes. They're so stylish. I'm fine. Just now, I have understood something. It is most likely that the office was the primary crime scene. The blueprints were switched out because blood splattered across them. Whoa, so that's what it was. However, this is just a hypothesis. We need to find a way to prove it. If blood splattered onto the blueprints, we should be able to find bloodstains on the wall. But we didn't find anything at all, so it must have been wiped clean. If only we could find a way to test for it. Dear Mr. Robinson, please give us some reagents to test for bloodstains. Shen, I've got an idea. In my father's notes, I once read about an ammonia powder that glows when it reacts with blood. I never thought this laboratory would have it. See, this one. The scientific name for it is free aminophthal... Yes. Aminophthal hydroside. I can try to prepare a blood detection reagent. That would be wonderful. Let's go borrow Mr. Robinson's laboratory table. Mr. Shen, what else would you like to know? Mr. Ho, you seem to be quite familiar with Mr. Robinson. I speak a bit of Mr. Robinson's language, so sometimes I can help him with communications. Mr. Robinson is a very interesting person. I really enjoy talking to him. How is Foreman Ting's relationship with Mr. Robinson? Foreman Ting used to be Mr. Robinson's assistant, but their relationship was never too close. You both have probably already heard about Foreman Ting beating up Mr. Robinson a while ago. What was the specific reason for that? Foreman Ting came to ask Mr. Robinson in private to help him test the steel made by his methods. Mr. Robinson agreed and ran tests over and over again, but the results were unsatisfactory. Foreman Ting was quite stubborn and insisted that Mr. Robinson was being half-hearted. Mr. Robinson only meant to help, so naturally he resented Foreman Ting's accusations. Mr. Robinson's words became quite harsh. Foreman Ting was so angry that he beat up Mr. Robinson. The matter was only resolved when Mr. Lee stepped in. After all, Foreman Ting was just too eager to achieve success. Okay. If it be true, Thither is ought to... Yep. Mr. Robinson, could I ask you to give us an introduction to the tasks of a chemist? To be able to smelt metals, this behoveful to understand the composition of the minerals. Ere deciding the ingredients, proportions, and which refining process to use. Mr. Robinson is saying, before steelmaking, we need to know the composition of the minerals. Then we decide on the ingredients, proportions, and which refining process to use. He is responsible for running tests on the composition of various minerals through chemistry. So Mr. Robinson is also in charge of chemical testing for the quality of the steel rails, right? We doth not have the arts to explore the caliber of steel rails. What Mr. Robinson means to say is that the Ironworks laboratory does not have the credentials to run tests on steel rails. Credentials? Railway constructors, mainly foreign companies, have their own preferred testing institutions. The test reports issued by our ironworks are unable to get approved. Thee speaketh the truth, ho. If to be true, Thither is ought... whatever. I heard that he once served as your assistant. Why was he transferred to the factory floor? Ting was very talented. Oh, right, Ting as in... yes, okay. I applaud his contributions as mine aid. He doth help me in many ways, and in return if I did giveth him bounteous rewards. A co-equal so, he did maketh an unforgivable misprision. He was a cut purse. He did steal my notes, which did have it multitudinous data of the essence. He eke did steal laboratory instruments, then did return them the next morn. O me, the gods, did doth he truly bethink yond I would not findeth out. This is unreadable. Everything hither have a fixed placement. I didn't know of his trickery aforetime. It sounds like Formanting just wanted to gain more knowledge. The lab have its own rules. I doth not like people who doth not follow the rules. I muse going to work with on the factory floor was the superior answer for Ting. If it be true, Thither is... okay, yes. No more questions. It's time to prepare the blood detection reagent. Remember, left for items, right for weights. I just need to follow my father's notes step by step. I'm sure it'll be made perfectly. Okay, what are the father's notes? I need 2 grams of luminol. Okay, we can do that. Wait, left for items, right? No? Right for items? Okay, yeah. I need 90 milliliters of water. Are milliliters just the same as grams in this instance? Where do we even have water? We don't have water here. Alright, and we'll take this. Alright, we need to first 6 grams. Then we go over there. We need 90 milliliters of water. What? Oh, right. Well, I would have added it anyway. All right. Okay. Whatever. We'll do it that way then. Can I just add 30 milliliters 3 times? And 40 milliliters of H2O2. 40. Okay. What happens if I just do like this and then do... Okay, it doesn't work anymore. And I can reset it, yes. Oh, right. I was being stupid. Ask me. The blood detection reagent is all done. Excellent. Let us go to the office for verification. Verification, verification, verification. Mr. Deputy Administrator, we suspect that the office was the scene of the crime. We need to detect blood. Shall we close the door and windows and turn off all of the lights? As long as it contributes to uncovering the truth, do whatever is convenient for you two. Look, Shen, it's blood. Blood on the walls and on the floor. Is everything that is glowing a bloodstain? It appears that we need to reinvestigate this room. The bloodstains on the wall are mainly cast-off pattern bloodstains with a wide range. Preliminary judgment, the murder weapon was not a knife but a blunt object instead. Yep. Could the murder weapon be something inside this room? If it is an object in this room, the murderer probably committed a crime of passion. Is it the lamp? I've already tested every object on the desk and there weren't any reactions to blood. Okay. Is it the shrine? Chen, I have a bold hypothesis. Go on. My instinct tells me that the murder weapon was the statue of Ganjiang at Moyi. The weight is appropriate, but the shape seems to be a bit short. You can try to test it. Afu examined the shrine and the statue closely. There's no luminous reaction at all. I guess it wasn't the statue. If only my instincts were as sharp as Shen's. I do not rely on my instincts to solve cases, though. Right, it's one of these, isn't it? Shen, do you think the steel rail sample on the display shelf could be the murder weapon? You might as well try testing it. I'm afraid I can't. What is the matter? If the reagent is applied to the steel rail, the results might be inaccurate. There weren't any reactions to blood on the tables, chairs, and teacups over here. But what about over here? No. There isn't any reaction to blood on this clock, which means it's not the murder weapon. Okay. There are 2 long cast-off pattern bloodstains on the board of name badges. The cast-off range is wider than any of the cases I've seen before. Shen, the name badges are blocking the bloodstains. Shall I take them down and test them? Sure, but keep a record of the hanging positions of each name badge. Understood. The hanging positions could also be clues. I've already tested all the name badges and there weren't any reactions to blood. The bloodstains on the copper board are continuous and unobscured. Shen, does this mean that the crime took place before the workers started work? You are correct. The wall with blueprints has cast-off pattern bloodstains as expected. The cast-off range is quite wide, so the murder weapon seems to be something that is very long. I'll take down the map and paste it back on later. Huh? The bloodstains on the wall stops when it reaches the map. The murderer really switched out the blueprints to hide the bloodstains. Shen's deduction is incredible. There's a blurry bloodstain on the floor with uneven thickness. This is a swipe pattern bloodstain left by the murderer when they cleaned up the crime scene. You see, those parallel lines at the edges are swipe marks. Scattered spots surrounding the blurry bloodstain that seem to be projected bloodstains. This is the result of blood colliding and splattering all around. Such traces often appear at the scene where the victim is repeatedly hit by a blunt instrument. Shen, I have a okay, yes. Well, we've already read through that. I thought maybe I could, you know, specify something else on that statue. There are no bloodstains on the wall near the code of practice. Yeah. What about this? Shen, these two bloodstains look really strange. This one looks like a symbol drawn on the bloodstained floor. The other one looks like a stamp, and it feels somewhat familiar. Something that could leave such a large bloodstain should be the murder weapon, right? That is highly possible. Afu, this trace is very important and needs to be specifically recorded. No problem. The existing evidence is enough for me to sort out some doubts.